Hi guys, trying out a new format today. So I just wanted to talk about this kind of metaphor that I came up with to illustrate what science is with a little story. So imagine that reality is like a big pond with a lot of fishes, and science is like a fishing rod. And then the hook on your fishing rod is the theory, the empirical method. And then your worm that you put on your hook is your hypotheses and the whole logical construct around it, making sure that you have everything checked, all the variables in control, all the questions, all the methodology figured out. It's like an incentive for reality to kind of like the fish, to bite onto your worm or your hypotheses. And so, you throw in your worm into the water, then you hope that part of reality is going to bite and be lured by your hypotheses. When you reel it in and you take that fish and it's like raw data all wriggling and all this stuff, and then bam, you kill it with statistical significance, and you get your validated results, and then you can cook it and eat it. Ow. And that's basically the moment where you transform your theory, your raw theory in science, to an actual technology that you can consume, literally consume. And that's just an example of science and the way that it interacts with reality. It's almost as if it was trying to pull out from a kind of a pool of reality, which is all in flux, with all this uncertainty principle and all that stuff, into something tangible and real. Because we're talking about in science these hypotheticals, quantum theory, this, quantum that, Heisenberg uncertainty principle. But in the end, when you turn on your phone, there's not a 50-50 chance that it's going to work or not work. It just works, right? So what science does is it kind of reduces this whole principle of uncertainty, of flux, of randomness into something where when you turn on your phone, there's 99.9999 chance that it's going to function exactly as it's supposed to. And that's just to say that there's nothing wrong with that per se. It's just that if you only have that kind of interaction with reality, that is, you can continuously try to pull out things from that pond and eat them, at the end there's going to be no fish left in the pond, and you're just going to be left with a kind of a dead, still reality where there's nothing unpredictable anymore. And that's like, there's just so many facts that you can pull out of reality with that kind of methodology before reality just becomes quote unquote dead. Which is kind of what we're experiencing with science today, is that if you push that to the limit, then humans are just another machine that you can reverse engineer. All of reality can be calculated, and ultimately we're all living in a simulation, and it's just all data, and it's just all, it can all be predicted. It's all just a giant computation. And that's basically like reducing your pond to still water where there's nothing moving and everything is calculated and accounted for. You've eaten all the fishes, and then you're just, the only thing left to do is just die. So, there are other ways of interacting with a pond full of fishes. You can, for instance, go for a swim, and then, just a fish passes by, and then another one comes, and, there's all kinds of things happening. And that's what in spiritual circles you'd call like these miracles or manifestations, whatever you want to call them. It's just a different way of interacting with reality, where you're not trying to capture that fish to make sure that it always works, but or that you can always eat it. You can control it, that it's kind of dead. But something that is continuously moving, and it may not work the next time you try, but that doesn't matter, because when you swim in the pond, you're not like, oh, I want that fish to appear every single time I swim in the pond, and I want it to be there exactly at the moment where I enter the pond. You know what I mean? That's just ridiculous. You just take pleasure in this kind of flux and this continuous change. So just tell me if you like these kind of new formats instead of my terrible scribblings, and talk to you in the next video. Bye, guys.